Welcome to the Oregon Fly Fishing Blog. I'm Jay Nicholas. This is another in our series of saltwater fly tying and fly fishing videos. Welcome to the Oregon Fly Fishing Blog. No nonsense series of saltwater fly tying videos. This here video is going to be fun. I set out, what I wanted to do was just talk to you a little bit about using clear Curagu to tie in your eyes, but I thought, well, let's do more than that. So here's the more than that. We're gonna tie an anchovy fly. Anchovy, it's an anchovy imitation. It's a baitfish imitation. Who knows what the fish really think it is? And we're going to be using Steve Farrar blend, and we're going to get to the point where we are using pretty large size eyes and clear Curagu, and that's the part that I am focusing on. But in the meantime, let's have some fun. So this here fly, I'm using a reverse tie-in. That's UV white for the belly. This is a bleeding gray. I'm kind of working that back. And now I want some bleeding mackerel. Oops, I want some smoke blue crystal flash in there first. Just a little bit. How much is enough? I don't know. Oops, that piece is crinkly. I don't like that. Aren't we fly tyers just hilarious? The things we talk ourselves into and act as though we're sure they're important. But you gotta have faith in what you're fishing, right? So here is my bleeding mackerel, and by the way, this is a color combination that I've caught albacore, Pacific Albacore on, casting and stripping. This fly is actually, I think it's a little bit too full to fish as a trolled fly. It's too light. If you cast it on a sinking line, it will sink, it will keel. At the rate you can retrieve it, it will keel just fine. That is, the hook will serve as a keel just fine. I'm looking for my midnight blitz. Just a few strands. But if you troll this fly at 6 knots, it may be too full to track cleanly. That's what I'm getting at here. Okay. Wow, what an awesome fly. So now I'm going to grab some eyes, and we're going to have a little bit of fun attaching these. I'm going to go with a 5/16 super pearl. And if you check my math, it's just a little bit smaller than the 3/8. Put it right there, right back on that material. Now, some people would super glue that on, or just show you that part right now and say, hey, there's the fly. But this is actually where the fun starts, is getting that. And I know you can't see that side when I got my finger there, but so this is going to be, I suppose if you've tied 1,000 of these, it gets easier. I haven't. So I'm going to start with a, well, I can never really make them. I'm gonna go ahead and start with the thick Curagu. I've got those eyes about where I want them. Now this is the thick Curagu, and as you put it on, it starts to sink into the material, and that's okay. It's good. It's all good. I'm trying to get, now I'm also holding that material back. You can see my goo going down the front there. I'm going to pop myself out a micro brush. Oh, I was slow. And I didn't have my paper towel ready, just like I advise people to. So, as I say, not as I do. Now, since this is Curagu, not epoxy, it's not set yet. Even though I've got the window, the curtains up, I don't have, the sun isn't shining straight in here. I suppose this might be getting a bit firmer, but it's still falling. I'm going to make sure my hook eye is open, which it wasn't. Because once you get a real solid plug of Curagu hardened in there, it can be pretty tricky to clear out. So I'm actually going to leave that there, and I'm going to go ahead and hit this. Now, there's an art, there's science and art involved in this, so that's, I don't have to hold this anymore. Now, the reason I was holding that back is if I hadn't, it would have been kind of poofy. But I got the shape just the way I want it. And that eye is still nicely open, and I'm going to verify that. Yeah, there we go. We're good. Now I don't have, you can see those eyes are kind of tilted down, and that sometimes they're flat, sometimes they're like this, sometimes they're down. I think what's most important is that they're somewhat symmetrical. And the fly has to be able to swim well, and this fly will swim really well. And I can tell you that because I've tied some that did not swim well. And the best way to find out what does and doesn't swim is to just throw them out there in the ocean and strip them back. So I got some thick on the bottom side, and I'm letting it soak in, and it's soaking in alongside those eyes, going down, going down, going down, and that's good because it's going to hold them in place. And I appreciate your patience with this, but this is time well invested if you haven't worked with these eyes before. One of the big lessons for me was just relax. So now I feel this, and this eye is, edge of the eye is up, and the goo kind of sank into the center. And so I need more goo. So I can come back and I can add more. Now the goo won't go in, it won't penetrate where there's already goo, but in the areas where there isn't yet goo, it will penetrate. It'll make a nice firm head, and this, you know, an anchovy pattern doesn't have to be tied where it's real thick and pushes water, but you know, sometimes you can throw out slim profile flies and the tuna will take them just fine. Now I'm actually going to inject this, put the nozzle into the material to make sure it gets down there on the back side of that eye. But real anchovies, they push some water. They got stubby noses. And so if you have a fly that announces itself by pushing some water, I consider that an advantage. Now the real guy to talk to is Jad Donaldson. He, you know, is a charter skipper, guides albacore several months a year here in Oregon. Opportunity is his vessel. Jad's a super guy. You know, he's caught thousands of the beasties. I haven't. But I have had the I'm going to take this fly out of the vise and try to keep it right here where it'll stay in focus, because I want some goo. And I know this is a long video, but you know, these things take time, and a lot of times YouTube videos, they don't really show you just how long it can take to finish these heads on the big flies. So in the interest of full disclosure, I thought I would do this. Anyway, Jad's a great guy, great skipper, excellent angler, world experienced, steelhead, tropics, tuna in northern waters. If you ever want to have a good time, go call him up, email him. You'll have the trip of your lifetime. I did. Okay, here you go. That's an anchovy fly, fishing for albacore. I'm sure it works for all kinds of species. And it's got big eyes and it's bonded. Now, you could go around the backside with the clear Curagu, but you don't need to. This fly is going to cast and fish, and yes, okay, I forgot. The thick Curagu is a little tacky. So I'm just going to put a little bit of the hydro on over it. And the hydro will seal the surface. You won't have that tack. I still have to admire that one more time. There you go. Have fun with it.